Yo, K-Kunnnn here. Today I got early access to Anbi's Mother. But without any further delays, let's get into Yixuan's skill. So Yixuan's a rupture agent that essentially wants you to spam her EX skill whenever it is available. She's a character that embodies an easy to use agent with a satisfying parry mechanic that has a lot of potential for skill expression. With some subtle plays that you can make, the overall way to play this character is night and day. Leave down in the comments below if you will make her your main after you understand Yixuan's playstyle. So Yixuan is the first rupture agent that scales off HP with the whole gimmick of this class that it ignores defense based on how much sheer force you have on the character. In Yixuan's case, she converts HP into sheer force, but I can see future characters scaling with like normally attack and defense or something like that, but we'll see. There's also an adrenaline mechanic only for rupture classes, essentially being an energy that passively generates over time, and by playing them on field you can get bonus adrenaline, example being like dodge counter with Yixuan. She also has a sub-unique element called Auric Ink that falls under the Ether category, just like how Miyabi's Frostburn falls under the Ice element. Now basic introduction is done, let's summarize and get into her core passive because ain't no way a gacha player's gonna read this whole thing. So her core passive states, HP converts to sheer force, Auric Ink is sheer damage ignoring defense, and her sheer force as a damage multiplier. If you cause anomaly proc with Auric Ink, you get 10 adrenaline back with a 10-second cooldown. When you enter battle, your adrenaline will be maxed out. Dodge counter will give you 5 adrenaline back. Consume 1 adrenaline is equivalent to 0.67 technique points. Playing Yixuan will get you more damage for her basic attack, EX skill, chain, ult, and assist follow-up. Auric Ink point is the yin-yang circle under her HP bar, which does her domain expansion as shown in the video right now. Now let's get into her additional ability, which is activated if you have a stun, support, or defense character. Whenever you ult with anyone in the team, she constantly gets 2 adrenaline back for 10 seconds, probably a max of 20 adrenaline for the whole 10 seconds. If you follow up assist into her, she does a lightning strike attack and restores 5 adrenaline in the process. If the enemy is in the stun state, your whole basic attack does 30% more damage. This counts as an EX skill because it's placed on her EX skill section for some reason. If you ult with Yixuan, you basically get free critical damage. It can be her alternative or her actual ult. Moving on to her basic attack being straightforward, squirting ink on the enemies, teleporting behind them, and give them back shots. Pretty simple. And if you do a whole basic attack with enough energy, which again counts as an EX skill, she spawns an ink bubble on the enemy, which I wish that was me for real, doing continuous damage. And if you time your whole basic attack, you get into vital view, slowing down time. You can either do 2 things here, do a lot of damage with her, or you can swap onto your support or stunners to use the time freeze to do like free apply buffs, apply debuffs, or build up days with your EX skill with your stunner in this slow time state. Pretty cool. Her EX skill is her bread and butter. Timing this parry is recommended because dopamine rush, and it has the same level of interrupt as a defensive assist, negating all damage and getting 10 adrenaline back. If you press her EX skill again, you do her second sequence of attacks, which just iframes and free damage, and her third sequence, if you have 20 adrenaline, you can goon all over the enemies. If you don't have enough adrenaline, it just goes into your basic attack. Her ult basically does big PP damage obviously, with her having 2 ults, one being able to get an Auric Ink point if you have built enough technique points by doing her EX skill and hold basic attack. And lastly, her ult just doing big PP damage. Yixuan's dodge can pretty much make you traverse faster if you hold her dash in a certain direction, and if you time it perfectly, you get adrenaline back. Now if you have an Auric Ink point indicated by the orange spinning yin-yang symbol, by consuming all her technique points by doing her ult, so when you hold your dash or while you're like flying with your bird, she holds a talisman indicating she can do her special move. You will use your domain expansion, you will enter like a vital view state, and in this state you will recover 7 adrenaline for 3 seconds, which is a total of 21 adrenaline max. And if you're feeling a little bit sweaty, you can swap onto your other characters to apply buffs, debuffs, or build up days with your stunner, while Yixuan stun locks the enemies and getting her adrenaline back. You can see the amount of cool things you can do with her. Now her assist is nothing special outside of it being like cool. There's not any like special ability, so nothing worth mentioning here. Now let's move on to her stats. Pretty decent and pretty good. Nothing too crazy, but nothing too bad. Now her priority skill level ups. I would equally level up her core passive, EX skill, and ult. Then going to her basic attack, and you can level up the dodge and assist if you want to. But I would highly recommend it since she's an on-field damage dealer. Now disc drive options. Obviously get the Yunquai tails, I don't know how to pronounce that. Her signature disc drives and a 2-piece with like a crit rate or crit damage. But if you don't have her signature disc drives like everyone right now, yoink your Yuyuan chaotic metal and it should be fine as a placeholder until you get her signature disc drive. The stats are on the screen right now. You can run HP on her 5th slot. It should be like 3 to 5%, though I'm just throwing random numbers here. It's not a major difference as long as you have a crack substats on it. It should perform like on par or maybe the same level as an ether damage bonus with poopy substats. Now Wengine options. You literally have like 3 options here. Her best in slot, the Qingming Birdcage, free 30% HP and free 20% crit rate if you EX skill, and you can get 2 stacks of Qingming Companion, which increases your ether damage by 8% and her ether sheer damage by 10%. If you get lucky sniping this Wengine, your Yixuan's gonna hit like a freaking truck. The F2P Wengine, the Rubik's Cube Spear, it has attack percent stat which is kinda stinky, but the passive is really nice. Give you free 16% crit damage if you EX skill, and if you have the enemy below at like 50% HP, it's pretty nice if you're doing it on Shiyu defense, but Deadly Assault it's kinda aight. Her BP being the best low spender option, Radio Wave's Journey has a nice HP stat, while the passive gives you 80 sheer force stacking up to 3 times at R1, and at R5 it's probably like 128 sheer force by doing her ult and chain lasting for 12 seconds. Now team options. Right now her best supporting agent rivaling Astra's damage buffs is Pan Yinwu for Yixuan, and probably upcoming Rupture agents in the future as well. So you're gonna get him when you're pulling for Yixuan, so I highly recommend building him for Yixuan and future Rupture characters. Her F2P options is Pan Yinwu, Yixuan, and Pulchra, literally her freaking banner. So ideally with this team, you kinda want to start with Pulchra so that she can go to Pan Yinwu, and then EX skill with Pan Yinwu to go to Yixuan to do her damage rotation, and just parry or evasive assist whenever you see the opportunity to recharge Pulchra's Hunter's Gate. The only thing you'll have to get used to is not switching into Pulchra when she has full stacks for her aftershocks, but other than that, this team's pretty aight, but sometimes you just facepalm yourself because you swap into Pulchra when she has her stacks up. Next up is the premium version of the Pulchra team, but you're kind of playing this team for comfort over days, triggers personal damage, and not really caring for triggers like additional ability. This is a lot more brain dead. You just have to manage triggers gauge once in a while, but yeah, if you don't care about performance and you just want something comfy, this team's pretty aight. Now Caesar, Yixuan, and Pan Yinwu, this team is the embodiment of just Unga Bunga. Caesar providing massive interrupt res from Yixuan with her shield and a nice buff from the Proto-Punk if you're using Proto-Punk on Caesar. The 1k attack is alright on Yixuan, but not groundbreaking. Pan Yinwu giving all the buffs you need for Yixuan with an EX skill. Pretty nice, no need to think about it, just go Unga Bunga. Now Rina, Yixuan, and Pan Yinwu is a team if you don't have anyone to slot in your 3rd slot. It can also be Nicole if you want to, but there's a big asterisk on this team that Rina's pen ratio buff doesn't really benefit Yixuan if you're running Slice of Time, her F2P Wengine. But if you slot in her signature Wengine, the damage increases, aight, but nothing to write home about. It's comfy enough cause you'll just get a lot of quick assists. This team's more like a I don't have any other option, so fuck it. Now Yixuan, Panyin Wu, and Kaleda. This team is nice since Kaleda can boost chain attack damage by doing 70% with 2 stacks with her EX skill, and just burst stunning the enemies down. Nothing really worth mentioning aside from Kaleda's Giga chain attack damage boost. So you're pretty much quick swapping to Yixuan to Kaleda when she does her hold dodge skill or whenever you use your vital view. Obviously the rotation for this one is pretty straightforward as you play it for a long time. Astra Yao, Yixuan, and Panyin Wu, a surprising fun and strong team to play around with. This team basically hyper buffs Yixuan to do a lot of damage. This is especially good if you're trying to fight the unknown corruption complex, the giant spider robot. You're basically impairing the motherfucker like there's no tomorrow, and if you time your parries with Yixuan, you're practically invincible. And repositioning with Yixuan to go to another leg is really quick. By that time you're there and the boss haven't like wind up his attacks yet, so run this team if you just want your Yixuan to be the main character. But with the team sections over, let's go through her pros and cons. So Yixuan's pros. She's pretty strong. She might be a benchmark for any upcoming unit that will be in the Rupture class. Satisfying gameplay. Her parries are satisfying. It's very generous with the timing of the parries, and not to mention her vital views that slows down time. It's real nice to take a breather in combat. Skill expression. Even if you're just like casually playing her, even doing like a simple like swap off while she's doing her vital view moves to be flashy to the point it might be visual clutters. But I can't wait for people to get their hands on her and show off some peak Yixuan gameplay and question my own skills. F2P teammates. Panyin Wu, Mr. Dragon Warrior, is just that good, and team flexibility is no issue at all because her banner pretty much sets you up with her free-to-play teammates. If you don't want to run Polkra, you can slot in like Nicole. She ain't that bad, but she ain't that good at the same time. She's hot. I don't think I need to explain myself with this one. And then let's go into her cons. Limited Wengine options, like there's literally only 3 currently that's available. I've prayed the devs are going to make like a Wengine like the Marcato's Desire for Rupture agents and make it her best F2P options or something like that, but it will suck for player who missed out on that type of Wengine. First, in the Rupture class, since she is the first one, she has the highest potential to be outclassed by future upcoming Rupture agents, but I'm not too worried about that because if that were to happen, the devs will just buff her, but I hope she lasts for a long while. Imagine like next patch another Rupture agent comes in and then just power creeps freaking Yixuan immediately. What? She didn't even last for 1 patch, bro. The usual banner placement. Currently she's paired up with the most broken support in the game, and next phase is Jafufu, who is theoretically her best stunner support agent, and Caesar is pretty good as well, so 07 wallet. Plus the good thing is that we're getting a lot of pulls this patch because it's the anniversary and it's a 2.0 patch as well, so we're gonna get a lot of pulls, so you could probably snipe Astra Yao in the process, and we're gonna get like a selector for the Wengine and standard characters, so if you're a new player you'll get a huge head start, yeah? So just play the game and hopefully you get lucky. Visual clutter. The amount of like auric ink VFX and numbers can literally block and cover the yellow flashes when you want to parry and red flashes to do like a dodge counter. So I guess the only way to lower this, just probably turn off damage numbers off, yeah. But yeah, I can't really think of any other cons besides those for now. But anyways, that's pretty much it for the Yixuan guide video. Subscribe so I can stay in the basement, like for the algorithm, and leave down in the comments below. Now that you have witnessed her kit, will you be pulling for her or Astra? But yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye!